Hi guys, sorry you're looking at Jacoy. I was gonna do this video with my son's autism bear, but he is nowhere to be found. I believe he is somewhere in the abyss known as my son's bed. So I want to talk about a show on Netflix called Atypical. This show started last year on Netflix. The first season was 8 episodes and the second season is 10 episodes. I had heard about the first season not long after Netflix put it on, and I fell in love with this show. And this is why I was talking about my son's autism bear. The show is about a family of 4, a son, I can't even think right now, a husband, wife, a son, and a daughter. So it's a family of 4, and the son has autism. And he is actually older than his sister. A lot of shows that deal with autism, typically the person with autism on the show is younger. It's a younger sibling, so it's always the older sibling looking out for the younger sibling. Now, in this show, the reason why I love it so much is it reminds me of my family dynamic. In my family dynamic, my son is older than my daughter. My son has autism, and my daughter is essentially neurotypical. I say essentially because nobody's really normal or neuro, and she has ADHD anyways. So, anyways, the show is dealing with like their life and how they deal with different things and the family struggles and such. I mean, the show really hits home because of my family dynamic of my son being older than my daughter. And in this show, it shows that the daughter is close to her brother. In the show, she picks on him, she teases him, she runs around and hides his toothbrush, and she kind of screws with him, which my daughter does to my son as well. And, you know, just like a playful manner. But when push comes to shove and somebody tries to do something to her brother that is malicious, she is the first one there to beat on them and, yeah, stick up for him. If she needs to fights for him, she's there for him. And also in the family dynamic, the mother is so engrossed with like finding therapists for her son, finding things to help her son, trying to make her son's life easier, going to school with the IEP meetings, trying to decide things for him. And the dad kind of just steps back and lets mom deal with it. Which, from personal perspective, that happens in a lot of cases. Very few families that I know of, dad is as big of a crucial part in therapies and IEPs and requesting testing and whatnot for the child on the spectrum. A lot of times it's mom. So I mean, it's a very true to life representation of a family with a child with high functioning autism. And when I say true to life, it is a made up show, but it's what a lot of people are dealing with on a regular basis. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that are really upset about shows like Atypical and Good Doctor, where they kind of more deal with a person on the spectrum that is capable of living on their own, that is capable of, you know, kind of recognizing that they're different and trying to figure out different strategies to kind of help themselves. is verbal and can have like meaningful conversations. The autism spectrum is huge. There's the higher end of the spectrum and there's the lower end of the spectrum. The lower end is the nonverbal, the lower IQs, the 14-year-old and like a 2-year-old body type thing. Mentally, and there's people all the way from the one end to the other end and in between. The spectrum is huge. And I see why some of them get upset that they don't have a show dealing with people with on the lower end. But on the other hand, you know, shows and like Netflix and channels, they want to put on stuff that people are going to watch, where people absolutely loved The Good Doctor. And so far everything I've seen has been good reviews on Atypical. So people are watching it. It's entertaining, similar to like Big Bang Theory, where they've actually come out and said that Sheldon is not autistic, but everybody's like, you know, he's got all the traits of it. Some people feel that the reason why the creators don't want to say Sheldon is autistic is because they don't want to go into the people throwing fits about actually labeling him. But a lot of stuff that Sheldon does on Big Bang Theory are signs and symptoms of somebody on the spectrum. And I mean, those are the shows that are entertaining. They can do a lot with a character that way. And if you've got a character that's lower functioning, there's not a whole lot you can do. Somebody like kind of a lower functioning would kind of more be like Rain Man, where he was institutionalized but he was very smart. Or What's Eating Gilbert Grape, one of the characters played by Leonardo DiCaprio. I watched that movie like so long ago. I think they just kept saying he was mentally retarded, which they don't even diagnose or use those terms anymore. But essentially, watching the show, he would be like a lower functioning person with autism, where on the show or on the movie he has a character, but show wise there's other characters that have to fill in for that. It's something like if you're involved in theater and whatnot. Now, if they make a reality show of dealing with autism, I'm first person in line saying you need to have people all over the spectrum, not just one end. I watch on YouTube a family called Fathering Autism. They have a daughter, Abby, who is towards the lower end of the spectrum. She's nonverbal. I think they've repeatedly said that she's probably about 2-3-year-old mentally. And they show their daily struggles with autism, their highs, their lows, and everything in between. And I absolutely love watching this family. They vlog. I absolutely love watching this family and the dynamic of the family and how they deal with Abby. And I love watching that in a real basis. I don't know how a writer would be able to get... It's hard to describe. Like watching a person on the lower end and knowing people on the lower end, stuff that comes natural to them, I don't know if a writer would be able to get into that space or even fully understand that space. Because honestly, I don't even fully understand that space, and I have a child with autism. I just don't live in that area of the spectrum. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I love watching shows with people with different abilities. Other shows that I absolutely love to watch on A&E, they have Born This Way that follows some young adults. with Down syndrome. They highlight different areas even within Down syndrome. Another show that's actually comes on right after that is Raising Tourette's, which it deals with some families dealing with children that have Tourette's. And I really hope A&E comes out with a show about autism as well. So, I know this is kind of a rambly video. I wanted to get that out there. Like, I highly, highly, highly recommend Atypical. I've been sort of kind of binge watched it this weekend. I basically started it on Friday, waiting in the car line for my kids, and I finished it on Saturday night after we got home. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!